Alright guys, so today I want to give you a problem and a solution. The problem has to do with importing email lists generated from AWeber into AdWords for the purpose of remarketing. So a little bit more about the problem. When creating a remarketing audience within AdWords, you can upload a .csv file or other types of files to create that list. However, they have to be properly formatted. And what AdWords expects from the formatted data and what AWeber outputs are very different. So today I'm going to show you a tool that I built over in Visual Basic in Excel that will do all of the formatting on your AWeber lists to prepare them for uploading into AdWords to create custom audiences. Alright, so let's get right into AdWords and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Actually, first I'm going to go into AWeber and I'm going to first explain how to download one of your email lists, and then I'm going to show you what that output file looks like and how it differs from what AdWords needs for input to create those audiences. So here I am in AWeber, and I'm just going to bring up for now my SFM video series list. Now I'm going to go over to Manage Subscribers. Now you can filter and tag your list any way you want to. If you're familiar with AWeber, you already know how to do that. But once you've done that, you can come down here and export that list as a .csv or comma separated value file, which is essentially a text file that then can be parsed into Excel or any other kind of database application. Alright, so let me show you what that looks like over in Excel. Alright, I'm just going to drag my focus window over here so you can see that in Excel. Alright, so this is my engaged SFM video series subscriber list from AWeber. Essentially, over in AdWords, AdWords only wants the email address, a first name as one column, a last name as one column, a country as a 2-letter country code, and a zip code. So here in the AWeber output, you'll see a couple of things. One, if I look at the header row, I have an email address and just a single name column, and that name contains both first and last name. Some people put their email address in there. AdWords doesn't really care what's in that field. However, it does need to see a first name column header and a last name column header. It's also going to want to see a country column header, but what's populated, or what AdWords wants to see populated, is again a 2-letter country code, and you can see here that AWeber outputs it as a country name. So when AdWords tries to bring that file in, it looks at what's in that field and it says I can't do anything with this. And then in AWeber, the column header is listed as postal code, and AdWords wants to see a column header that says zip, Z-I-P. Alright, so what I've done is I've written code in Visual Basic to take this output file from AWeber and format it the way AdWords wants to see it in order to import it as for a custom audience. Alright, so I'm going to here you're going to see excuse me, in the code that I've built. Now the AdWords list of country codes is quite exhaustive, and it was not practical for me to build that entire list into the code. So what I did was I took basically 5 default country codes: the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and the United Arab Emirates, and I included all of those country codes within the code itself, so that as it goes through your file, if those values are within this country column, it will go ahead and apply the correct country codes. If it finds a country code outside of those 5 default codes or names, then it's going to bring up a dialog box and a hyperlink button to allow you to go look up the appropriate code from Google or even download their list so that you can input it within that form and the routine will go ahead and run it. So let me show you what that country code from AdWords looks like. All right. I'll drop the link, by the way, for this document into the description for this video. So if you want to go ahead and download the list ahead of time, that'll be great. And it's very simple, 2-column list with a country name followed by a country code. Now, all right, so over here in AdWords, I want to create a custom audience. I'm going to create it right now for my engaged SFM video subscriber list. Okay, so people who are actually opening my emails, and you might be asking, well, if they're opening your emails, why do you need to remarket them? That's a good question, but I'm just going to do that here for demonstration purposes because this file has what I need in terms of demonstration data. So I'm going to go over into AdWords first, and I'm going to click the create. You'll see here, by the way, I got here. I'll navigate over to this this page. I'm at my main screen in my Google AdWords account. Now I'm going to go up to Tools. I'm going to go to Shared Libraries and Audience Manager. Now you'll see here at the top I've got Remarketing tab and a Custom Audience tab. I'm going to create a new remarketing list, and to do that I'm just going to simply hit the plus sign to create a remarketing list. And from the drop down list here, I'm going to select Customer List. Okay, this is going to allow me to go in and first of all name this audience. So this is going to be my engaged SFM video series subscribers. Alright, now you'll see that I've got an option to upload data, and that's what I want to do. You'll also notice here that there's a phone field. AWeber doesn't provide a phone field, and AdWords doesn't mind if you omit this column header. It just doesn't want to see something that in the way of that might be a phone number that is named differently or doesn't have the right formatting for the values that's in that. So here I'm going to select the upload plain data, unhashed data, and you're going to see here some formatting guidelines. There's a link to Google's help page. You can definitely go check that out if you like. Now, first of all, I'm going to demonstrate to you what happens when you just try to choose one of the simple output files from AWeber as its output from AWeber to show you that it simply can't do anything with it. So I'm going to take that same list, engaged SFM video series subscribers. I'm going to point to that file. I'm going to check the box that says this data was collected and is being shared with Google in compliance with their policies, and I'm going to go ahead, upload and create list. And you can see here I got an error. It says the following column headers in your file are labeled incorrectly. So it's got the whole list of all the column headers that it doesn't really know what to do with. And so it's saying re-upload your file using the correct column headers, these right here. Okay, so essentially the routine that I've built, or the code that I've built over in Visual Basic for Excel, handles all of that formatting. Now what would happen is without this code, in order to make that file usable, I'm just going to drag my focal window over here to the Excel document that I've got open. Essentially what you'd have to do is go in and delete the fields that that AdWords doesn't want to see. You'd have to go through all of the country codes, look them up, and change them manually. So here, instead of United States, you'd have to put US, UK, UE, CA, and AU for those 5 default countries I mentioned. All right, and any others that you've found. So we're going to let the code do that for us. The other thing that you would have to do manually is you would have to change this name field to the first name or last name. You'd have to create a first name or last column in addition to that one, and you'd have to break those out manually. And obviously I don't have to tell you how much trouble all this could be just to get your list ready to go into AdWords. So this code will do that for you. Alright, so let's jump in here. We've got a file open here that we'll just work with in Visual Basic. Alright, so what I've done is right here on my, if you right click, by the way, in Excel on this portion of your interface, you'll see a custom quick access toolbar or show quick access toolbar above the ribbon. That would just move it up to the top here. If you click on customize the quick access toolbar, it will allow you to go over and from this drop down list I select macros, and then I can go in and all of the macros that are visible either in my personal.xlsb file or any other macro enabled workbooks that I have open, I could then create a shortcut that would be added to this menu up here. And so what I've done is I've created a shortcut for the format AWeber list for AdWords macros that I've developed here. By the way, if you were to take this code and import it and make it import it into your Visual Basic environment, I can definitely shoot a video to show you how to do that. If you were to do that and that file was available, you could do the same process, add it to your quick access toolbar, and you can modify that. You can change the name if you like. You can select whatever icon that's available here to display with your on your access toolbar. I've simply selected this icon right here. I've named it appropriately, and by clicking on that, I will launch the application that's doing all of this formatting for us. Alright, so let's do that right now so that we can demonstrate just how quick and effective this is. So I'm going to click that button. Now what's happened here is the application has found a country name that is not one of the 5 default names that I included in the code. So I've implemented this dialog box to allow you, first of all, to go over to Google's website and download or look up with their online tool the country code that you need, and then enter that country code right here. So let's do that. It says here we've got a country code for Northern Mariana Islands that's not in our database. So I'm going to go and click the AdWords country codes link. What that's going to do is, and I'll drag the focal window back over here to my browser. That brings me to this website where I can open the table. It's an online tool where I can simply look that country up and extract the code, or I can download the latest .csv of the geo-targeting database that Google is currently using. Alright, and you'll notice they've got appropriate dates here for that. In this case, I'm just going to open that table up, and right here in the upper left corner you'll see a filter button. Alright, so I'm going to click the filter button and I'm going to go to name, and that is for country name, by the way, or city name. I'm going to click that and I'm going to type in Northern Mariana Islands. And I'm going to hit the find button. And there we go. We've got you want to pay attention here, guys. The target type could be listed as a country or a city. So we want to make sure that it's a country. And in fact, we have a country code of Mike Papa here. So I'm going to go back over, input Mike Papa into my user form, by the way, I've got this mislabeled on the dialog. I will correct that before this ever goes out. I said 2-digit code here. It's actually a 2-letter country code. But I'm going to enter MP right here into that dialog. I hit the enter button. It's found Hong Kong, so I'm going to go back over and I'm going to look up Hong Kong in my Google tool. And I'll do a find on that. make sure I've got a, now it's got here, it's got it listed as a territory. In this case, a territory, a region, and an airport are all listed. I want the territory, and the code is HK, so I'm going to enter that here in my Excel tool. I believe there's one more here. Okay, and we've got someone from China on the list as well. Alright, so we're going to go back over here, look up China. And I'm sure after a while, if you have enough of these, here we go, China. And China, the country is CN. If you got enough of these, you're probably going to memorize them over time. And we have Spain in the list, so let's go get Spain. I'm not sure why China's still on the list there, but ES is our Spanish country code, or Spain country code. Okay, and there we have it. So the code has taken that raw Excel file. By the way, it does not save this output file for you. So after you've let the routine run, you're definitely going to want to save it as a new file. I recommend you keep the original, save this off as a new file. But you'll see here what the routine has done is it has taken that name column that we had, and it's created a first name and a last name column, and it's parsed each of those out and assigned them appropriately. And it's taken what was a postal code column header in the original file and changed that to zip, and it's taken the country name and assigned a 2-letter country code. Now if we go over, and let me just save this off. In this case I'm going to save it to my desktop. Excuse me. By the way, when you get this prompt, let me drag this over into my focal window so you can see the whole thing. You'll get this prompt whenever you try to save a .csv file with Excel. Some features in your workbook might be lost if you save it as a CSV or comma delimited file. Do you want to keep using this format? You just want to say yes. Alright, so now I'm going to go back over to AdWords, and I'm going to point it to that new file that we created over on the desktop. Engaged SFM subscribers. Make sure that I've checked the box that asks if I collected the data in accordance with Google policies, and I'm going to upload the list. Alright, and I've successfully created that list. Now you can see it right here, engaged SFM video series subscribers. It's going to take a while to populate this. You'll see over here in the size column all these little metrics here. Those will populate later after Google's had a chance to assimilate this into the database. So I think that covers just about everything there, guys, with this new tool. Reach out if you want to try to use this tool. The caveats are, I haven't done anything in terms of error correction or accounting for a lot of different contingencies with this code, but you shouldn't run into any major issues. If you do, I'd love to know so that I can go in and address those and fix that with some appropriate coding. Reach out, let me know if you'd like to get this. I can certainly shoot a video. In fact, I'll do that here in just a moment. A video on how to import the code modules into your Visual Basic environment so that you can actually use these in your Excel on your desktop or laptop. Until the next video, talk to you guys later.